gods and goddesses, peace. I'm SHU AMUN RA, and this is part 2 of class. Now, part 1 prematurely was discontinued. So what I'm going to do is pick up from where I left off, exactly where I left off, to show you that why do black men cannot see eye to eye. Now, you already seen in part 1, and if you didn't, please go to part 1. Make sure you got your pencils and your papers so you get a better understanding. So you'll be able to do your own research. You'll be able to do your own studies, because that's what I want you to do. I don't want you to just listen to me, even though I'm the messenger, but study. Study the information, the videos that I put out. That's what I got to do. You do it too. So we're going to jump right into where I left off, and why do black men can't see eye to eye. Use your common sense. It's not hard. It's easy. All the answers are in your face. You just got to re-educate your mind. Let's get right into it. I don't want to waste no time. What you're going to see is a video about the African mythical story. I showed you in part 1, and I read the scripture, Genesis chapter 4, 1 through 9, how Cain and Abel was born. Cain was first, Abel was second, and how Cain allowed his emotions get the best of him. And even though the Creator talked to him, according to the story, but it was too late for Cain. He took his first impulse, and his first impulse was to kill his brother. And he succeeded of killing his brother. Then listen to the heed of what the Creator said. No. His first impulse, and he could not control it, but his emotions controlled him. So I really hope that a lot of you are understanding why black men can't see eye to eye, and they try to destroy each other. And some of them are successful. But let's get into the video. I gotta recap that because it was cut off. I'll be right back.
Most important Neteru in Kemet were Asar, Aset, and Heru.
Or to give them the more usual names, Osiris, Isis, and Horus. These three deities originally came from Kush.
These are very, very important triumvirate.
Their stories are as much mythology as they are history.
Now, according to Diodorus Siculus, who was one of the ancient Greek historians, Osiris was originally a community leader of very early Kush. He doesn't call him a king of Kush, but he makes it quite clear he was a leader.
Asar is regarded as the founding father of Kemet. He unified the two lands. He established the first nation-state in the recorded history of humanity. He is said to have introduced writing, the writing which the ancient Kemites referred to as Medu Neter, or the writing of God when it was written, or the words of God when it was spoken. He is also said to have introduced agriculture and theology.
Also decided to take civilization to certain parts of the Nile Valley, as well as to other parts of the world.
Asar married a beautiful Nubian woman by the name of Aset, who was his co-regent, not his inferior, his co-regent. And when Asar decided that he was going to travel to other parts of Africa to share his technology with his brothers and sisters on the continent, he left his wife Aset to run their nation.
And he was very successful, very admired, and this provoked the jealousy of his brother, Set.
And Set then plotted to overthrow his brother Asar.
Set, or Sete, in ancient Egyptian, murdered his brother, dismembered his body into 14 pieces, and then scattered those 14 pieces throughout Kemet.
When Aset learned of the murder and dismemberment of her husband, she fled for her life, and then she went searching for the missing parts of her husband's body. Aset found 13 of the 14 parts of Asar's body, and as she found each body part, she cleaned it, she anointed it with oils, and she laid all 13 parts out, and she literally remembered her husband, wrapped his entire body in bandages, and created the first mummy in the recorded history of humanity. As Aset was preparing to bury her husband, she grieved because she was about to bury the man that she loved. She grieved because she was still a virgin. They had never consummated their marriage, and thus she would never bear children by the man that she loved. And according to the story written on many papyri in Kemet, carved on several temples in Kemet, the spirit of Asar came and impregnated his virgin wife Aset. And then 9 months later, the virgin Aset gave birth to their son Heru.
Now, in the case of Isis or Set, she is the original Virgin Mother, and she is seen suckling Horus. He is shown as a child suckling his mother, and he's wearing the pharaonic headdress, making it clear that he was born a king.
Haru is the son of Osiris, and he's the embodiment of order. He has to take over the kingship, and he has to do that through a struggle.
So Heru was born, the son of a virgin. He was born with a specific purpose in life. That was to restore his father's kingdom, to do battle with his uncle Set and reclaim his father's throne.
Heru would then take up his father's struggle, in a way, against his uncle Set.
One of those classic battles, not so much between good and evil, it's more a battle between order and anarchy.
And Heru eventually triumphs over Set.
At that moment, Heru was miraculously transformed into a falcon. He flew into heaven to meet with his father Asar, told Asar of his victory over Set. His father blessed him, and Heru then returned to Kemet as the legitimate heir to the throne. And when he ascended to the throne, the symbol of the Heru Badet, the winged sun disk, was a symbol that was carved above the entrance of every temple in Kemet to serve as a reminder of Heru fulfilling the reasons for which he was born. And at the moment Heru reclaimed his father's throne and was crowned the king of Kemet, his father Asar was resurrected from the dead and took his place on the throne of judgment.
I hope that you sat down and watched that video. You can watch that video on your own. What you do is you type down the Holy Trinity. When the Holy Trinity comes up, press it and you'll see that video. Remember I told you I want you to start doing your own research. Now, I'm going to explain to you just a little bit. You have the Christian version, and then you have the African version. Right? One is based on the brother got jealous because the creator favored one. First impulse, kill my brother. Can't take it back. In the African story, the brother got jealous and killed his brother. chopped them into 14 pieces. Story seems similar. How two brothers kill each other. But it doesn't matter. They were black men. You see, the Christian story has been rewritten to the likeness of the white supremacy. All the white people who now believe they're in power. But regardless how the story is being told, black people, black men have killed each other. You see how the son Haru came about through the spirit of Hazar, impregnated Haset. The son was born, raised up to kill his uncle. Kill his uncle. And he did. He was successful. So, when you want to sit there and go, why black people can't unite? Why black people can't unify? Let me ask you this question. Have you underlined the word jealousy? Have you underlined the word envy? You haven't? You should have. Because these words are in your face. These words are reasons why here in our time, black people can't see eye to eye. You have the Moors institution, the Christian institution, the Muslim institution, the Hebrew Israelites institution, the Kemetic institution, the Christian, right? So why all these institutions cannot be under one banner? Listen to what I just told you. Write this down. Do your research. Let's do it again. The Moors, Christian, Islam, Muslim, however you want to do it, the Hebrew Israelites, and the conscious community. 5 into a fist. But why all of these organizations or institutions, and it's not to degrade any one of them, because every last one of them are great. They're great simple fact, because if they're helping black people to reconstruct their mind, they're helping black people to see their problems and understand their issues. Not to dilute you in thinking this white Christianity is what it is. No. That is a common copy of the original text. Now, why all 5 of these powerful institutions cannot unify? Huh? Just explain this to me. They're all on they're on the right track. But they can't unify. For example, I'm going to show you clips how Malcolm X was debating with Christians who went to school and went to intellectual schools, higher learning, if you will, thinking they can outthink Malcolm X. Now here's the strange thing. Matter of fact, it's not strange. This is truth. People go to school and believing because they go to an extinguished college. They believe psychologically they are smarter than you. This is not the case. They are more surprised and more subdued to how you know so much information than them. Or how come your mind capability is so advanced and they went to this institution, this precious institution, to learn? Well, you're not learning the African way. You're learning the systems way. You don't even know that the Moors was in Europe for almost 1,000 years teaching the Europes. You don't really understand that they built institutions to teach the Europeans. So when you don't know this, and if you do know it, and you don't recognize the truth that the black man have gave life to the Europeans. Education, science, mathematics, astronomy, agriculture, how to live with the animals instead of allowing the animals to live in the same place as them, to take the animals outside the house or the castle. Huh? Here's the funny part. You help these people, they come back to bite you, to destroy you. They don't need you no more. Why do black men can't see eye to eye? The answer's in front of you. Let's go to the video and see the Malcolm X and understand the collaboration between Malcolm X and these two extinguished gentlemen that they believe they are more higher learning than him. But you're going to listen and understand how these men ain't going to see eye to eye. We're going to get deep in here.
One is Minister Malcolm X Shabazz, one of the top leaders of the Nation of Islam, or the so-called black Muslims. And we also have Mr. Herman Blake, one of the teaching assistants in the course. We will discuss today some of the goals and some of the strategies of the Nation of Islam. And I wonder if Mr. Blake might start it off by asking Mr. Shabazz a question.
Minister Malcolm, the thing that I thought might be good for starting it off is to talk about one of the most pervasive beliefs in the general society about the Nation of Islam, and that is that it is an organization dedicated to the use of violent means to attain its goals. The question I have is, how true is this, and why do you think it persists in society?
Well, the Muslims who have accepted the religion of Islam and follow the religious guidance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad have never bombed any churches, have never murdered any little girls, as was done in Birmingham, have never lynched anybody, have never at any time been guilty of initiating any aggressive acts of violence during the entire 33 years or more that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has been teaching us. The charge of violence against us actually stems from the guilt complex that exists in the conscious and subconscious minds of most white people in this country. They know that they've been violent in their brutality against Negroes, and they feel that someday the Negro is going to wake up and try and do unto them as they have do unto the whites as the whites have done unto us. We aren't a violent group. We are taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to obey the law, to respect everyone who respects us. We're taught to display courtesy, to be polite. But we're also taught that at any time, anyone in any way inflicts or seeks to inflict violence upon us, we are within our religious rights to retaliate in self-defense to the maximum degree of our ability. We never initiate any violence upon anyone. But if anyone attacks us, we reserve the right to defend ourselves. So to accuse us of being violent is like accusing a man who is being lynched, who is being hung on a tree, simply because he struggles vigorously against his lyncher. The victim is accused of violence, but the lyncher is never accused of violence. And I only point this out because the various racist groups that are set up in this country by whites and who have actually practiced violence against blacks for 400 years are never associated or identified or made synonymous with the term violence. But whites speak of Muslims almost synonymously with violence. Whenever Muslims are mentioned by them, violence is brought up. But it's not connected with any other group. This is a sort of a propaganda tactic, or what I would call psychological warfare, to in some way make the image of the Muslims in this country be a violent image rather than a religious image.
I'd like to ask a question in that regard. What's interesting is that members of the Nation of Islam have not used violence even when black Americans were attacked. How do you account for this? Does this in any way contradict some of the basic premises of your movement?
I don't know how you mean.
Well, you maintain, for example, that you will not, or that you should not use violence unless you are attacked by the white man. And I think we can note in the last several years, certainly, dozens and dozens and dozens of instances in which Negroes have been attacked, killed in some instances.
You mean in these demonstrations?
These demonstrations and the bombings, for example, recently in Birmingham, where they killed 4 little Negro girls. And what interests me is the fact is that the Nation of Islam has not done anything to retaliate.
I think you should be happy.
The important thing is, does your lack of action contradict any of your basic principles?
I'll explain it. You should be happy that Muslims who follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, number one, don't believe in any form of integration, and believe that every mention of the word integration by whites, whether it be from the mouth of Kennedy on down to the mouth of the lowest, raggediest white liberal in the street who is beatnik-like involving himself in these integration efforts, if we believed in it, we would integrate, and we would fight anybody who got in our way or made any effort whatsoever to stop us from integrating. If we really believed that the law of the land, the Supreme Court, and other so-called judicial bodies were for real when they talked about integration, we would integrate. And knowing that the law was on our side, and any effort we made to demonstrate towards integration, why, we would know the law should be on our side, if it's the law of the land. If it is the law of the land, then the demonstrators are within the law, and the discriminators are against the law. But to show you the hypocrisy of the law, when Negroes demonstrate for integration, instead of arresting the discriminators, the law arrests the demonstrators. So this is a foolish move on the part of Negroes. And when you foolishly get yourself involved with an enemy, then whatever comes upon you, that's your business. As Muslims, we believe that separation is the best way and the only sensible way, not integration. And but on the other hand, when we see our people being brutalized by white bigots, white racists, we think that they are foolish to allow themselves to be beaten and brutalized and do nothing whatsoever to protect themselves. They are foolish. They should have the right to defend themselves against any attack made against them by anyone. If a dog is biting a black man, the black man should kill the dog. Whether the dog is a police dog, a hound dog, or any kind of dog. If a dog is sicked on a black man, when that black man is doing nothing but trying to take advantage of what the government says is supposed to be his, then that black man should kill that dog or any two-legged dog who sicks the dog on it.
Should other black men help that particular person who was attacked?
I think you'll find, sir, that there will come a time when black people wake up and become intellectually independent enough to think for themselves, as other humans are intellectually independent enough to think for themselves. Then the black man will think like a black man, and he will feel for other black people. And this new thinking and feeling will cause black people to stick together. And then at that point, you'll have a situation where when you attack one black man, you are attacking all black men. And this type of black thinking will cause all black people to stick together. And this type of thinking also will bring an end to the brutality inflicted upon black people by white people. And it is the only thing that will bring an end to it. No federal court, state court, or city court will bring an end to it. It's something that the black man has to bring an end to himself.
Minister Malcolm, let me, on the basis of your two remarks, ask a double-pronged question. One, is it then your assertion that the laws with respect to how Negroes are supposed to have equal opportunity and equal rights in this country are not meaningful or believed by whites? And secondly, what then is your opinion and attitude toward the civil rights movement in general, and particularly the Reverend Martin Luther King and his philosophy of nonviolent direct action?
If the white people really passed meaningful laws, it would not be necessary to pass any more laws. There are already enough laws on the law books to protect an American citizen. You only need additional laws when you're dealing with someone who is not regarded as an American citizen. But whites are...
All righty then. I really hope that you sat down and enjoyed that clip. You see, according to that clip, Malcolm X sat on one side, the white announcer and the black guest sat together, showing the symbolism of we against you. Now, why do black men can't see eye to eye? You see that extinguished black man asking Malcolm X diverse type of questions to try to figure him out. Now, Malcolm X, the genius that he is, basically broke it down geographically and gave him the answer he needed, but he didn't want it. Now, that black man doesn't see eye to eye with Malcolm X because he was raised under the institution of the white supremacy. That's its example when I told you that we have all these black men in different organizations and different institutions. Why you can't see eye to eye and don't want to. But in part 3, I'm going to drop some more jewels to you. How money is a great, great effect. Money has a big influence in why black people can't see eye to eye. Listen here, it's not to degrade black people. It's to try to understand why we can't get along. We got to stop doing this here. One thing we got to stop doing is this here. Is stop looking past where we know there's a problem. Or sweeping it underneath the rug when we know there's a problem. I'm SHU AMUN RA. See you in part 3 of class. Put this work in.